Hey there, everyone, and welcome to the Unofficial Google My Business show. My name is Rody, and I will be your jungle guide today. Joining me today is, of course, the unbeatable, impeccable Nancy, optimization queen of the jungle. Nancy, you want to introduce yourself? Say something nice.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the jungle.
All right. So we're back here today on the Unofficial Google My Business show. So once again, I'd like to welcome everyone to the GMB Jungle. GMB, of course, standing for Google My Business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And today, our episode is going to be a very helpful one for those of you who are interested in sharing and promoting your ideas and your messages from your business. What are we talking about? We're talking about GMB posts. So, our episode name today is, of course, a little bit wordy, but a good GMB post is like a good banana. Everyone wants to check it out.
Look at that.
Check out that banana.
It's a good banana, just like a good GMB post.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to say, can you hold it? Wow, that looks nice and ripe, probably a little sweet.
It's a perfect banana. And today we're going to show people how to get close to that level of perfection, but in a GMB post instead of a banana that was on my counter for a week. So let's get into it.
Nice. Thanks, Nancy. Thanks for allowing us to check out that banana. Now, let's check out some GMB posts.
Perfect.
Oh, we're going hard on this one. All right. So my first question for you on our first segment that we love to call Haps from the Jungle, of course, because what's happening in the jungle? Why are we talking about this? Why is it important?
And today we're going to tell you what a good GMB post looks like and what you need to do to make that happen for your business.
Nice. Thanks, Nancy. Queen of the jungle, my liege. Sorry, optimization. Queen of the jungle.
True,
all right. So our first main question is going to start with a little story because, I like to tell stories and ramble on incessantly. So I used to live in Korea for about 5.5 years. A little bit.
Yeah, it was a while.
Yeah, actually, you can't see it behind my screen, but I have a big old cool Korean flag from the Ultra Music Festival. But we'll talk about that later.
That's the third episode.
Yeah, the music festival episode is coming up. I promise.
Yep.
All right. So essentially, though, I used to live in Korea for a long time, and now I live in New York City, which is honestly not too big of a change. There's just a lot of, people just tend to look a lot different here, right? Than they did in Korea. So I love Korean food a lot. It was part of the reason that I was able to live in South Korea for such a long time.
Yeah,
and I lived in the yeah, it's delicious. It's just there's so many things. There's so much variety. There's so much going on. I could talk about it I could wax about this forever. So, anyways, I'm looking for a Korean restaurant here in New York City. But you know what? I'm not a rich guy. I'm just gonna go ahead and let that out there. I don't want to go to Koreatown in Manhattan and pay way too much for food that doesn't really seem authentic. Because I can tell a lot of restaurants there tend to cater to sort of like the American crowd looking for Korean food, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, and the conversion value of, bananas from the jungle to dollars that you would spend in Koreatown and Manhattan is terrible these days. So what did you do instead, Rody?
I'm glad you've been following those conversion values because they're a really important part of the story.
Always.
So as I was surfing Google, because, of course, the first thing I do is the first thing anybody does when you're looking for something, you say, oh, all right, let's look up Google. Blah, 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 type, clackety, clackety, Korean restaurants near me, right? Enter, click. Yeah, it was coming up Manhattan, but as I searched more, I started looking towards the Flushing area in Queens. And it turns out that the Flushing area in Queens has some really, really good looking Korean restaurants that are not so expensive and seemingly pretty authentic based on the pictures and based on the menus and the signage and stuff. And again, I'm gathering all this information just from Google My Business, right?
Yeah, perfect.
Because that's what I'm using Google to search. And of course the Maps app as well, right? It's all kind of interconnected. So as I was searching, I saw a restaurant that actually had a post. Get this, a post about my favorite, or not my favorite. It's beyond
one of them.
You guys. It was an island that I used to live right next to in Korea called Golje. And in Golje is known for their seafood and their sort of like I'm gonna say live seafood, although that does exist, but the really fresh seafood, you get a lot of things that look like sashimi in Korean. It's called hip, right? So when I saw the pictures of Golje, I had my heart was started to race because like that represents something very special. When you start looking for like a certain type of food, only people who sort of are from there are going to know what that means, right?
Yeah, but it's like when someone sees that, it's exactly what you're looking for. So is that the restaurant you ended up going with?
It actually 100% is. And the crazy thing, so the crazy thing to me was that I found this information based off of a GMB post, right? And which is, I was like super excited to tell this story, obviously.
Love to see it,
Yeah, for real, right? And so the cool thing was when I called, right? Because again, like, I know the difference between like the Korean restaurant and like the Korean restaurant. And so
real deal.
When I called, whoever answered the phone, like the guy that picked up the phone answered in Korean, and instantly I was just like,
yes, winning.
Yeah. So I proceeded to make my reservation in my very broken Korean. Right? And and it was totally cool. And I ended up going to that restaurant. It was fantastic. Had some barbecue, had some seafood, and honestly, it tasted just like home. And now Korea isn't exactly my home. It was the GMB post that did it. It was the GMB post that made that connection. We can call it in the marketing world, we'll call it the conversion, right? Like I converted because of that post, and I will be going back.
That's the perfect story for sure. And that's exactly what a good GMB post does.
It wasn't exactly Korea prices, sadly, but we're doing our best out here, right? We're far from home.
Yeah. And like I said, the conversion rate on those bananas can be pretty tough. So I get it. But that's kind of the thing, right? With GMB posts, like they shared about that island that you were looking for the specific type of food from. And they didn't have to pay anything to share that information from you. So it was a type of free advertisement. And I think that's like the coolest part about GMB posts is they're free advertisements. They show up anytime someone looks for your profile. So they're super visible, and really, the post that you just described did exactly what they're supposed to do. And that's why we're talking about this today, right?
Yeah. I chose that place amongst a few other places, of course, too. It wasn't there's a lot of like Korean restaurants in that area, but of course I'm looking for something specific. So it was wonderful. It was fantastic. And I got all this information based off of one of their posts. And then of course I went through their pictures. I really wanted to check to make sure I was going to like the best value, most authentic place I could find.
For sure.
Going on a date. So
all right. When you leave the jungle with a fellow adventurer, you got to go someplace nice, but not too expensive because that conversion rate's pretty bad.
Yeah, those banana conversion rates, man, I'm telling you. We'll talk about that in a future episode.
Yeah.
That kind of like leads me to like the next kind of big and important question about these posts, right? Like, what does a good post even look like? Now we know already that when you make a GMB post, you have to put all of your basic information onto your Google My Business page. But the interesting thing is that outside of the pictures and the video section, and I guess the description section too, there isn't really a location where you can really like show off your business, talk about 100%. Deals, talk about services that you offer, kind of put things on like a pedestal in the forefront, for people to absorb. I don't know. So Nancy, what does a good post even contain? Like, what does it look like?
Well, first of all, you're 100% right. The GMB post is really one of the only spots where you can be creative and really reach out to people directly. You mentioned photos and videos and descriptions. Those two things are part of a GMB post, but they never show up together outside of your post. So make the most of it. And I think that, really it's a place to be creative. So a good post, we're going to get a little philosophical here.
Ooh.
It's subjective. So what works for one business might not work for another. But the point is that you should always have really good content that's guided around a central topic. So right now, I think GMB offers you to create posts about COVID updates, news, offers, events, all of that kind of stuff. So that way you can share that, maybe this week you're having a special on food from a specific culture, or maybe next week you're having an event for a charity in town. So you can share all that information through a post, put a really good image together so you can put some text on it, treat it again like a free advertisement with a really nice tagline, and there you go. That would be a good post.
That's a wonderful rundown, honestly. So like, yeah, it really is too. Like, yeah, the posts have a bunch of different categories too. I actually just made a little screencast video about this, like a little tutorial that I'll share also in the description, so you can go ahead and check that out.
Yep, but
check it out like a good banana.
What?
What? So these posts can take a ton of different forms, but essentially it's your realm. Literally design whatever you want, post it, use the descriptions. They even have little like contact links or whatever. They have a bunch of example links you can choose from. Then add your link, and if you are a super smart gorilla, add tracking to that link for your Google Analytics page.
Oh, the big blue gorilla is gonna love to hear that tip. You guys remember that one? Add tracking.
Yeah, that's not even our pro tip either, by the way, which is coming up. But yeah, I've been studying. Can you tell Nancy? Nancy's been teaching me everything she knows. She's the senior here, and I am but a young, like rosy cheeked jungle explorer.
You're just a little babby crawling in the jungle.
Babby.
No, but really, since we talked about the pro tip, why don't we just go ahead and get into that right now?
Boom, boom. I wish I had these big drums to play to introduce the pro tip, but I don't. So I'll just make the noises with my mouth. Boom, 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 boom. All right, here's the pro tip. All right. So Nancy, do you want to introduce our pro tip? Or do you want to leave it to me?
I'll take it ahead, Rhodey. You can get the next one. So this pro tip to start off is keep your posts short and snappy. So we talked about the fact that you can add content there. But again, it's a free ad. So when you go on Google and you see an ad there, you're not seeing like 10 paragraphs. You're not even seeing 2. So make sure that when you're having a GMB post, your content is concise, it's snappy, it says exactly what you needed to say to connect with your user. And again, push those conversions, and make sure your videos and your images look really good as well. So that way it stands out on your profile and continues to differentiate you from the competition. And that, my jungle friends, is pro tip number 1.
Oh, I thought you were going to slip in another one of those juicy jungle puns into there, but you didn't. So.
No, this banana, like, there's no juice left. What am I talking about?
It's okay. You've been in the jungle for a little too long.
It's true.
Or maybe not long enough, you know what I'm saying? So, so essentially, like, the biggest part of these posts is that you make them eye-catchy, right? That's, like, the part of the short and snappy spiel is that these posts are appealing to look at, Like, I'm going to make this metaphor over and over again for the rest of the show, but these posts, you can think about them like they are the juicy fruit, right? Your profile hangs on the tree of Google My Business. Now, when somebody is searching something in their area and your profile comes up, you want your profile to look like the juiciest, most accessible fruit. Guess what happens to juicy and accessible fruits?
Snatch them right up.
They get smashed, right? They get picked from the tree, essentially, right? And they get munched, and everybody loves them, and people love to check them out, right? As we've discussed many times already. So a big part of that is making sure that your posts and your pictures look good. So you don't need to be a genius in illustration. You don't need to be an expert photographer. Really, honestly, like, you just need like some basic knowledge of, like, you can even use PowerPoint, you can use Canva, you can use, if you're good at Photoshop, and if you're good at Illustrator, and if you're good at like Affinity Designer or all these really great design programs, even like GIMP or something like that, a lot of these are really free or low cost, except for the Adobe stuff. But yeah, like,
but you can still make the most of it. And we'll actually get into that into another section that we have here in this episode where we're going to talk about how much time it takes to put into a GMB post to make it good. Right. So we'll dive into the details then.
Cool. Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here because, we're definitely going to help you learn how to construct a good one in a minute. I just wanted to talk about that stuff because it's super important. I do have some bullet points that I made because Nancy made me make bullet points. Just kidding. I love making them.
He's here totally willingly. Blink twice if you need help.
I'm not in danger. I swear I wear this hat because I really like it. Not because Nancy makes me. Anyway, so let's go check out this amazing bullet point list I made, and we're gonna try to avoid the void here.
We try it multiple times every episode, and we've been successful so far.
How did I do?
We avoided it. The folks who are listening into this episode won't even know what we're talking about, but YouTuber folks might generally know what we're talking about.
It's essentially the infinite mirroring effect that happens when you share your screen when you have a camera on you and stuff like that. So anyway,
that's exactly what Nietzsche was describing.
Yes, it's precisely what Nietzsche was describing. It's right. So anyway, my bullet points. Posts are free advertising, as we've discussed many, many times, and we'll keep saying it many, many more times. These posts are free, right? So you can, Google doesn't charge you anything. They show up when people look at your profile, and they just add a whole nother. They add a whole nother dimension truly to your profile. You can even scroll through and see all the posts that you've made since the beginning of you starting to make posts, right? So use this. It's a free advertisement. You want to tell people stuff about your business. Of course, you can use your website, but the truth is that people use Google My Business first.
Yeah, they're going to
even if they don't know first. Yeah, right. That's what I mean. Even if they don't know they're using it, it's there before the link to your website. Or it's obviously they can link to your website at the same time, but the images are going to be accessible before the images on your website are going to be accessible.
Exactly. And when you access the profile, you're accessing the profile first because you're likely searching on Google or you're searching on your phone. So you're seeing the profile first. And of course, there's a button for your website, but hey, they're on your profile first. So make the most of it. And that's why we could talk about, having posts that have eye-catching imagery. And in some cases, all you need is Canva or a basic design program, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's it.
Sorry for your bullet points, Brody.
No, you crushed it. Honestly, please. I give them to you freely and openly. So again, eye-catching imagery, and you don't even need anything special. You could use Canva. You could use Microsoft Paint if that's your aesthetic. Sorry, rest in peace, Microsoft Paint. I don't think they have it anymore. Yeah, touchy subject. Anyway,
what one was it? Pix for Kids or something? When we were in elementary school.
I didn't use that. Yeah. I just use Microsoft Paint to draw with the mouse.
I think it was called KidPix, but we're just dating ourselves right now.
Cool. Yeah. Dating in the jungle is a whole nother episode. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, the void. All right, you guys, we made it.
All right, continuing on. So our next segment is called From Vine to Vine. And the reason we call it Vine to Vine is because all of these vines are interconnected. And essentially what we're going to talk about now is good examples of GMB posts out
in the wild.
Out in the wild, yeah, what things that we've seen that really work, right? There's so many examples. So let's try to condense it to the best ones here. But Nancy, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so right off the bat, Nancy, what are some good examples that we can talk about with our listeners?
Yeah, so I'll just focus on one main one just because, ever since I saw it, it kind of stuck out in my mind as being something that, was incredible at the time. And it's still a really good idea for people to think about for their own business profile. So a good GMB post should always be within the context of your business, right? So it should be showcasing information, letting people know what's going on with your business and things that they can take advantage of. So when COVID hit, That was a really difficult time for a lot of different businesses, and you had to roll with the punches if you could, right? So when I was scrolling around one day, I saw that a restaurant nearby was posting, which one, stood out because no one really does it, which is why we're talking about it. It's so
True.
underutilized.
That's like, yeah, that's honestly, we should have mentioned that like the first 5 seconds of the show.
Oh my God. Yeah. A good GMB post is a GMB post that exists. Let's just put that out there.
It's not a saturated market.
It's not. And it really, really stands out because, hey, I was scrolling through, I saw this GMB post, and then I looked at it a little bit more, and it was a really nice image of, glasses on a counter on a hot day. So it had that condensation on it. They looked really vivid and fruity. It was just very enticing. So I read the post and I was like, what is this? It looks like a cocktail, but obviously we couldn't go into the restaurant to sit down and eat or have some drinks. So totally. I wanted to know what this post was about, So yeah. What was really interesting is, not only was the image really eye-catching, but the caption was letting me know that they were still having happy hour. And it's not that they were breaking the rules. They were still being safe and everything, because this GMB post was showcasing cocktails to go, which at the time, it wasn't really popular. It happened kind of like as a result of the pandemic that you can get drinks to go. And I think that is just such a perfect example of a post that has everything, right? Again, great images, content that really stands out and showcases something about their business. And there's an order online button. They literally had the whole package set up for me. Saw the picture, read it, saw that I could get a cocktail to go. And it was not only that, but a happy hour special.
Okay.
Girl, I ordered that so fast. So I converted, as we say in the jungle, and
that was my next question. Is what was the order minimum on this beast here?
We're not
how many happy hour cocktails are we talking about?
Let me just say, I don't live alone, so I'll leave it at that. We hit the minimum, no big deal.
All right,
it was well worth it, and that post sold me, and it made the business money, obviously. So that's what we want.
Yeah, and of course, COVID was really, really, really trying times for a lot of businesses, and we sort of have to give a little pour one of these happy hour cocktails out for a lot of businesses that didn't do well during COVID times. But obviously, like what Nancy was saying, it forced a lot of other businesses into sort of adaptation and evolution mode, because you really need to figure something out, because especially if you're a restaurant where people are coming in and now you can't have people coming in anymore, how are you going to make money? So some of these restaurants and businesses came out with these ingenious ideas, like cocktails, like happy hour cocktails to go, you can pick it up or get it delivered. But yeah, that's an excellent example. If I'm not babbling on too much, one of the other ones I saw was actually this one of the companies that we represent. In case this wasn't clear, Nancy and I work for a company called GMB Gorilla. Right?
Is it plug time?
Oh, is it plug time? Hold on.
It's a quick
plug
little
time.
plug.
GMBGorilla.com, baby. All your GMB Jungle Gorilla needs. I'm gonna have to work on that plug. Anyway. So yeah, one of the other businesses that we represent had an awesome post that I wanted to bring up too. It was essentially this. So it was like an ice cream sort of company called Churn, right?
They're awesome.
Yeah. So one of the businesses we represent here at GMB Jungle.
That's right.
Anyway, so yeah, for everyone listening in, I keep flashing the our little banner. So yeah, GMBGrill.com. What can I say? Anyways. So selling ice cream isn't the most difficult thing in the world, right? You look at ice cream and most people are like, "Oh, that's
I'll have one."
Cream. Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, sure, hand it over, dude. Stop withholding the ice cream. You know what I mean? So essentially, they have consistently awesome marketing and awesome posts. We do not make the posts for them, right? Is that right, Nancy?
We do.
Oh, we do? Oh, we do? Okay, sorry.
You're welcome.
We do make these posts for them. And obviously, I make them, and they're incredible. And that's why I'm bringing this up right now. No, I'm just kidding. I personally am not making them.
Thanks, Michael and Sabine. Shout out to the team.
Shout out to the artists. Shout out to the copywriters, But
hard. But you're right. I mean, Churn is a really awesome example too. And selling ice cream is easy in the summer. Hey, but they're in Buffalo, New York, and there is a wicked winter up there I've personally lived through it. So have a lot of other people who work with us and work here at GMB Gorilla. And consistently having these really bright images with this really delectable looking ice cream and a really like witty caption, it sells a lot of ice cream. Those posts are really popular. And like you said, it stands out because it's so good.
Yeah. That's so that's exactly what I was going to say. Like I was kind of like getting distracted, which I often do, but no, Churn actually has some really, really, really pretty and beautiful GMB posts. And again, I'll actually link them for you because that's a really, really good example in our description.
Right.
Yeah, it's an excellent example of how to do it right. They have good design, they have good info, and the reason I even brought it up was because I was scrolling through their post because I was actually, I mean, the ice cream was gorgeous. I'm gonna be real with you. Like something about the bright. I'm just like such a little kid. Like something about the bright colors is just like, ooh yeah, oh yeah. Like you know what I mean? Like
psychology do that.
It is, right? I'm just like looking at toys or something. It's like, oh man, that's cool. I want that one. Oh yeah, bright colors. Yeah, you know, I get really into it. I get like maybe too into it, you know.
No, but that's what a good GMB post does. It's like a good banana. You can't look away. Everyone wants to check it out. Churn does it right.
It's exactly what we're talking about. And that's why it makes it such an excellent example. But what I'm trying to say, and I keep getting distracted, is that as I was scrolling through, they had a post about them having vegan ice cream, right? Now, I'm not vegan, but a lot of my friends are, right? And if I'm going to a place to have ice cream and I want to bring my vegan friends, it's often a big part of the conversation. It's like, oh, do they have something that I can eat, right? And, well, now I know they do.
Yeah, I know. And it's delicious. By the way, it's delicious.
Oh, is it? Have you tried it?
I have. I love them.
Oh, snap. That's awesome.
Honestly, everything they have is good, but any good vegan option, again, it's something that you can share in a post to make sure that people know that that's an option. And what do you know? If a vegan is scrolling through there, they're going to convert because they have them.
Yeah, exactly, right. Or a friend of a vegan is like, oh, let's go to this ice cream shop. I know that my significant other or my friends or whatever is going to be able to enjoy ice cream as well. And you know what I mean? Like so again, like this kind of the whole point is that this information is super crucial, super helpful to the customers. And I was definitely scrolling through and I saw the vegan thing. And again, it's just awesome information. Those posts don't go away. You know, they don't expire. I think they used to, right?
They used to expire after, I think, like 7 days or something like that. You used to be able to schedule them in advance too, which was amazing directly through the GMB platform. But nowadays you just got to post them manually or use a separate tool to schedule them, which we are going to talk about in a future episode, by the way, guys.
Cool.
Just not leave you hanging there on that vine just by yourself. But yeah, you used to be able to schedule them. You used to be able to, get that out in advance for the month or whatever if you wanted. But nowadays you just got to do it manually, use a tool, and they don't expire. So people can keep scrolling through your profile and see all that great info.
Yeah, that's awesome. The cool thing is that if I wanted to, I can go see like posts from 3 years ago if I was feeling really
adventurous.
Procrastinating. Oh, adventurous. That's better. Yeah.
All right. We'll go with that.
Let's go with adventurous. Yeah, 100%. It's like wandering down paths in the jungle that kind of like, oh, no one's been down here.
It's a fun day. It's a beautiful day. Yeah. And what's interesting is there really isn't a difference between a profile that does GMB posts and that doesn't, right? So there's no
difference.
No, there's no icon like on Twitter, where it's like a verified user. It doesn't say anything like that. However, once you open that profile, it's going to be a world of a difference when you're scrolling down. It just ends after your information or description. Or if you start seeing these little ads from the GMB posts, I think it makes a really big difference.
Like I said, I was supposed to be working, but instead I'm scrolling through looking pictures of ice cream. It's called research.
Research and development.
Yeah, it's called research, and I need to make sure I'm doing proper research in order to put up
the part of the strategy,
quality content. Exactly, right? So, anyways, this is super important, right? And obviously these posts deliver important info, right? We don't have to we've already hammered that in well enough. So, how easy is it to see these posts? Because you were just talking about how it's really easy to tell, but where does it show up? Like,
Yeah. So once you open up a profile, Rody, you scroll
mhm,
down a little bit, whether you're on, your desktop, you're on your tablet, you're on Apple Maps, wherever you
sure.
are, you open the profile, you scroll down a little bit, and you will encounter those GMB posts. So it typically is after, the buttons where it says website, call now, or directions. It's underneath your hours and that sort of information. Again, your NAP type of information, right? Name, address,
Gotcha.
phone number. Everyone
Name,
loves a good
address,
NAP.
phone number. Everyone loves a nap. We got to hammer that one in too. It's
It's
super
true.
important.
So your GMB posts show
Nuggets.
up after that. So again, you're giving people basic information of what they need to know, and then you can hit them with things that are
Yeah.
actually going to sell them. Your selling points
Okay.
that make your business unique. So it's easy to see, and again, they don't expire, so you can keep scrolling if you want to. And honestly, I found myself scrolling a lot. It's not because this is my job, but because I want to be like, okay, like where was that other sale? Like, what did you guys have in stock that week? Or whatever
Right.
it may
It's
be.
actually
It's
good
useful.
info. You know what I mean? You don't have to put out a flyer if everything's on your GMB post and people are using Google to search you
Love it.
anyway. So yeah, Nancy, I have a question actually that's going to sort of lead into our pro tip,
Ooh.
right? But the question being, how often should you post? Because right, if I'm scrolling through and seeing all these old posts, is that what I want to be seeing? Like, it might not be up to date, right?
It might not be up-to-date information, but it's still showing you that that business is constantly invested in informing and connecting with their, current and potential customers. So that's
Sure,
really
sure.
important. It can help you learn about the business in general. But as far as like how often you should be posting, on the business side of things, I would say a minimum of once a week. So it depends on your business, obviously. So let's say every Monday you post your weekly sale on a GMB post, but maybe on Wednesday you decided that you're going to have an event that weekend. You can absolutely
Mhm.
throw up a post about that event, later on in the week, or maybe even on Tuesday. There's nothing to say that you can't post every single day if you want to. It just
Yeah.
depends on what type of information you have to share. So don't go too crazy at first and burn
Mhm.
yourself out if you only have, a limited number of things that you can talk about.
True.
But you can really use these posts a minimum of once a week. Stay connected with your customers. Make sure you're sharing information. Make sure you're, catching them by the eye with these really good images and posts. And that way
Mhm.
you're giving really good information to the people who are looking at your profile.
Cool. Perfect. Yeah, dude. That's exactly correct. And I think the cool thing too is that I think when people see the ability to scroll, they kind of do like automatically. You know what I
100%.
mean? Just to see what's going on there. And especially this is like again like one of those big things. We can't hammer this home enough. If the image is eye-catching and if you have a string of good posts and interesting things to look at, people are gonna scroll. Like it's almost they're gonna do it without even meaning to, right? It's kind of like a
Exactly.
psychological thing. They want to check out the good fruit. They want to check it out. That's what the
Look
name
at
of the
it.
episode is. Check it out. Check it. Check
All right.
check
Well,
it.
Remy, why don't we wrap this up and go on to section 3?
All right, and segment number 3. Wait, what about my awesome bullet points? Forget about
We can't forget about those.
I have
I
some
said
good
wrap
ones.
things up. I didn't say skip them.
Oh, right. No, you're right. Sorry, I should never contradict the queen, the optimization queen of the jungle.
Yeah, just so our listeners know, we're also friends in addition to colleagues. So we like to mess around. We just,
Yeah, so
call each other a little bit.
especially talking smack just a little bit, just a little bit. So anyway, avoid the void. Here we.
Can we do it?
How did I do?
Perfect.
Nice.
All
So
right,
yeah,
take us
again.
through.
So here's our bullet points, right? Posts are often more visible than your website. We actually touched upon that at the end of the first segment, but again, it's worth saying it's way easier to see your posts than it is to see the stuff that's on your website. And it's kind of awkward. This is true because of how much people invest into their websites and how little people invest into their Google My Business page.
Not to mention the fact that they're investing in their website, but GMB posts are free. Like, why would you not just do both?
It's again, it's one of those things. And we understand like the differences in time and things like that, right? But like the important thing is that where's the visibility? Where are people checking this out? Like this is sort of the whole point of this entire like unofficial Google My Business show is we want to help you understand that stuff like this is crazy important. Like the posts are often more visible than your website. All right.
That's
And again,
exactly right.
Yeah, a good like one of those good examples is pandemic cocktails. You know, the interesting thing is, Nancy, now I'm going to ask you like a question. I don't know if you remember, it could have been far back, but did you even go to the website of that restaurant where you ordered the cocktails from?
I didn't. I'll be honest. I just went to the order online button and ordered online immediately. Because I mean, I
It's
knew
such
of
a thing. It's a thing. Like, I don't know how to stress this more. It's such a thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, honestly, you can get the statistics and data if you add tracking, which we talked about in part 1, which is makes you a super genius gorilla. If you add tracking to your links, you can do that to your website link as well. And you can literally see how many people click your website link versus how many people are clicking that order now button or whatever call to action you have in your GMB posts. So, run an experiment and see, because guaranteed you're pretty much going to get more people interacting with every other button on your profile than your website.
For real, I mean, the thing is too is that a lot of those, like, even like the order now button from GMB is integrated into things like I know here in New York City we have, like, of course, like Seamless, all these like ordering apps, right? Like Seamless and of course like Uber Eats and a lot of other
they're
ones.
all connected on your profile. You can do all
Delivery.com, yeah, like all these things, right? And we have this last bullet point here called Banana Delivery Service, which I think we were supposed to talk about, but we didn't. But essentially the idea is that if you are in a pandemic or if you have some special situation and you need to tell your customers that, hey, our banana stand, well, we're still here even throughout, these difficult times, but now we're offering a banana delivery service. What's a great place to tell people? Or sorry, where's a great place to tell people? Your Google My Business posts. Yeah, you said it, Nancy. You said it. If you nail those GMB posts, then you're going to have a lot more conversions. You're going to have a lot of people interested. It's going to be way easier for your customers to get that info.
100%. Well, we glimpsed into the void, but we didn't get a full look. It didn't look back yet.
Yes. So on to our third segment. We call it Climb That Tree. And here is where we talk about things that affect your Google My Business construction, development, creation, and, as we say in the jungle, growth.
Right? Love it.
We're all about growth in the jungle. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got to reach to the canopy, climb to the top of the local pack. And that's why you're listening right now, is you have to have some sort of interest in this, right? Or maybe people just like hearing banana and gorilla and jungle jokes.
Or maybe we're just really good looking.
Oh.
Sorry, was that too intense? I don't know.
Who said that?
Oops. Had to do it to him.
Another one.
All right. So climb that tree, right? And I'm going to go ahead and start with a pretty simple question here. Nancy, like the very obvious thing, how much work does one of these posts generally take? I mean, not everyone is good at design. Not everyone is good at copywriting. Not everyone, is a master jungle guide like myself. So what does it take to make one of these posts? How long? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, I'll tell you, the gorilla is big and strong. Look at that flex right there. And it doesn't have to take you a very long time. You don't have to be the biggest, strongest, digital marketer out there in the jungle to make this happen for your business. A lot of mom and pop businesses do this on their own. However, we found that it might take around 18 hours a month to fully manage your profile and do GMB posts weekly. So it really just depends on how much time you want to spend on this, how much time you have. And then again, you have to be really honest with yourself and say, hey, can I make the most out of a free design tool like Canva or whatever that might have a template that I can adjust and really make unique for my business? Can I do that? And can I make it look good? Do I have images? Again, take it off a phone. Phones are really good these days. There are cameras in your pocket. Use your phone. You don't need a photographer to come in to do it. Make sure that your images look good and professional, because you don't want to put something out there that looks like garbage unless you're a garbage company. And then you can just go ahead and add a really good caption to it. Make sure it's not too long. Make sure you're sharing the vital information that you need. Have a call to action, and then you're done.
Cool. Yeah, that's so you ran this, Nate. That was honestly, it was excellent. Like, okay, I think we can close the segment because that was exactly it. No, that was perfect. Like, it was actually perfect. Like even the dirtiest jobs and dirtiest businesses need clean design, right? So we know that for sure. Yeah.
We need a t-shirt with that on it.
We do, right? but the point is that it's effective. It's effective and eye-catching, right? How much time does that take? Well, it depends on what you're trying to say.
And it depends what you can do. So if you can do it, if someone on your team can do it and they feel confident, absolutely hand that off and collaborate with them. But
do you have the time, right? Like that's, again.
Yeah. And if you don't have the time, call us, call the gorilla.
Wait a second. Oh, wait. I know that there's a strong gorilla that can lift heavy design boulders.
Designing coffee boulders.
I'm working on this, right?
All right. Yeah. So GMB Gorilla, that's who we are. That's what you're listening to. The unofficial Google My Business show, which is, run, sponsored by, verified by, notarized by the GMB Gorilla, the big blue gorilla that we all know and love.
GMBgorilla.com, baby.
Yeah. If you need help with your GMB posts, or if you have any questions, and you don't have someone on your team, you don't have the time to do it yourself, you still should be taking advantage of this. So let us help. Let someone help you.
For real, yeah. And it doesn't have to be us. Of course, it could be someone on your team. If you can do the designs quickly and easily enough. Something that Nancy didn't mention, because I don't think she wants to toot her own horn too much. But Nancy is sort of the queen of templates and making things easier for everybody else.
Don't tell designers that.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Nancy's really good at this. I benefit from this as a designer and sort of generalist myself. But templates. Canva has them. You can download them. There's so many ways to do this. You can definitely do it on your own if you have time and if you have the desire and sort of energy to do it. But as our bullet point will show you, some of us do need professional help, and we don't mean that disparagingly.
No judgment.
There is nothing wrong with seeking the help of a professional when things get dark in the jungle.
It's true.
That was like a lot more meaningful than maybe I meant it to be. But
that was basically the first page of Heart of Darkness right there.
Nice. Yeah, I have to go back and read Joseph Conrad.
No, don't ever do that.
No, big mistake. I mean, it fits the jungle theme, right?
It does, but they're going to take away my literature degree if I talk more about how I feel about that book. So we're going to go on to the pro tip.
Hold on. You're cutting out. Can you? I saw you do a dance and couldn't hear you, and honestly, I was really sad about it.
I was saying that we should go on to the pro tip, and that was the pro tip dance.
Oh, nice, the pro tip dance. Oh, how did I miss it? The pro tip dance. It's so recognizable. So the pro tip being, don't put half thought out content, because again, everything you do put out there is visible, right? And especially highly visible on Google My Business. So you don't want to have just half a banana kind of laying out there, sort of turning black with time. You want to make sure it looks good. You want to make sure that the fruit that you're putting out into the world is delicious, ready to eat, and appetizing, right?
And accessible.
Because that's what's going to get people to convert, right? Having a strategy, again, this is a big part of the pro tip as well, is good design, good information, succinct, having a good strategy for posting once a week, twice a week, whatever makes sense to you, right? Yeah. You can even do extra posts. It looks like we're taking the day off today because we ran out of
bananas. We finished.
Right, you are, Nancy. Yeah.
You see how seamless that was? Did you hear
it? Right, you are, Nancy. We do finish each other's
sentences.
Bananas. All right. We'll work on that.
Oh, I thought it was such a missed opportunity. I'm sorry, guys.
For real. It's okay. Let's just go to the bullet point, unless people get tired of us. Bullet point. Avoid the void. Avoid the void.
Ooh,
right.
Get it.
So go to the next slide, please. All right. So a little bit of time and creativity is all you need. In order to make a good post, you can, of course, we're gonna leave the example that we were telling you about, the churn ice cream example, in the description, so you can really easily see it and check it out. But get info from them. Check out your competitors. Another big thing that we honestly haven't harped on enough. What are your competitors doing? What's their design like? Do they seem popular? Does it seem to be working? How can you improve upon that yourself?
And just as an additional part of this, it's not a bullet point and it's not a pro tip, but it might as well be both. make sure that even if you're checking out your competitors and they aren't posting anything, that doesn't matter. That just means it's better for you. You should lead the path by starting it up. So take advantage of when people are underutilizing this tool, but don't do that yourself.
I'm going to make that the closing statement to this episode. But yeah, like, well, let me get to that in a second here. So yeah, like some of us do need, so the creativity is all you need. Some of us need professional help. I don't know why that emoji is there. It kind of gives it like, sort of like a cryptic sort of effect.
It's a little cryptic. It's like a slight threat, but seriously, some people need professional help. There's no shame in that in any aspect of your life, including your GMB posts and GMB management. So that's what we're here for, and that's what the Gorilla is here for too.
Absolutely. And the last big important one, which is sort of a plug, but also just real life, save time by hiring someone. It is a fair amount of work. I'm not gonna say it's a lot of work, but to have good posts, to keep up with it, to make sure that it's consistent and, you know, people are becoming aware, you know, you might want to hire someone or pass it off. I don't know, like whatever the case, you know, scale the work, obviously make it work for you, essentially.
Make it work for you. Absolutely. And again, we found that it takes about 18 hours to manage a profile properly per month. So make sure you have that time and actually put in the work.
Yep, that's super important. Yeah, like crush that into little bits and pieces for a bunch of people, and you're gonna have an awesome GMB profile that people will look at and happily consume. Right?
Just like a good banana.
Just like a good banana. So that's kind of it for today's show. Let's just to quickly run it down. Like, these posts are not hard to make, but you should be making them even if nobody else is making them. And that's what I wanted to be the closing statement. Nancy, do you have anything you want to contribute?
No, make sure that you're using GMB posts. And that's really all I can say. You're a monkey's uncle if you don't.
Yeah, these posts are grossly underused in the GMB jungle. So just having them, just posting anything, just having somewhat attractive pictures. Another super quick example, we have a pool company that we manage and represent. And man, when it's hot outside, looking at those pools, it's just like, oh, it's so like,
yeah, like I want to call and be like, hey, can you come up from South Florida and hit up my backyard real fast?
Yeah, not only that, but can you bring some of those delivery cocktails?
Delivery cocktails, some empanadas from Miami, and just head on up to Pennsylvania and New York.
The empanada truck from the first episode. Oof.
Never forget.
Never forget. So yeah, our next episode is lovingly entitled "What a Goog Wants, What a Goog Needs." Nancy, our resident singer and actress, do you want to take it away? No.
What a goog wants, what a goog needs.
Oh, so good. It gets me every time. I get a little emotional. It's so good. What a performance.
I used to have performance anxiety, but then I really heard my own splendor of my voice. And now you guys have heard it too.
Can you deny the splendor? No. Yeah. So that's it for today. We'll see you on next week's show. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Any closing remarks? No?
Nope.
Let's end this sucker. All right. Thank you so much again for listening and for watching. We'll try to be on every platform that we can possibly get on. Hopefully you find these episodes relevant and helpful and somewhat entertaining. Hopefully not obnoxious, but I would totally understand.
We don't judge here.
We don't judge, right? So, anyway,
since we're talking about it really quick, you can find us on social media as well. So Instagram, Twitter, and all that, as well as obviously listening or watching us on most major platforms.
Yeah,
and we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys in the next episode.
We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time.